Kings of Dirt and the GXCC races are proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers and all of the GXCC's co-sponsors.
You know, I'm very excited for the riders. This is something different. The terrain is different. Like I said, it's the first time we're racing here. But yeah, this event's special to us. It's combined with a national. So it's going to be a longer day.
I'm fortunate enough to have raced here with the GOCs early on in the season, like towards the end of the GOC series. We had one race out here and a nice venue, nice combination of riding. I think we're going to be in for some proper hardback riding as soon as we head into the trees, proper tight riding, some rocks up on the koppies. So I'm quite excited, a nice mix of terrain, and we're really going to be tested in every aspect.
Yeah, look, it's warm today. We're starting a bit later. We were fortunate to start early the previous rounds. So heat and look after yourself, get hydrated, and yeah, new terrain. Looking forward to it.
It's a very stressful day today. It's not just a GXCC, it's a national off-road as well. So there's a lot of things at stake here. The terrain's going to be, I think, nice and fast and flowing. And also, like the previous GXCC, it's going to be that rocky hardback.
The 2018 championship started off in Bronchies, and immediately the fight between the two Huskies of Kenny Gilbert and JC Nienober were up at the front, with Kenny Gilbert taking the opening win, only for JC to bounce straight back with 2 wins on the bounce. Kenny sits with a DNF from round 3, and after the throwaway points rule, Nienober sits with a 10-point lead going into round 6 of the GXCC series. Defending champion from 2017, D'Artagnan Lovejoy started slowly after technical issues, but has been consistent since then and lies third after throwaways on the points, with just 2 rounds remaining. A surprise package in 2018 thus far has been Ruan Potgieter. He sits in third before throwing away his worst result of the season and keeps himself within the championship hunt. So this is what the points look like before the throwaway rule comes into play. JC Nienober already with one hand on the trophy, Dart in good shape, Potgieter, Gilbert and John Kerr de Lange inside of the top 5. Remember, this is before the throwaways. The OR2 championship has been dominated by one man, JJ Daisel, a rookie to the GXCC and off-road racing format. The privateer has run good numbers the whole way through, not finishing off the podium the whole way up until this round. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third put him way out front. Whilst Adriano Catalano and Taki Boggiorges sit some way behind on points, even after the throwaways. Boggiorges with 2 wins, but 2 way low finishes, one of them being a DNF, will see him out of points contention and no way of winning the championship. Daisel is the man out front and looks odds on to walk away with the big number 1 plate. 5 races and 5 different winners so far in the OR3 category for 2018. However, not all have competed in all 5 rounds, which means Darren McLeod, the most consistent rider out there, with 1 win, 3 second places and a third, puts him top of the charts. 2 more podiums should see him wrap up the championship. As to the fight for second place, that's between Martin van Jaarsveld and Barend Pretorius, with both riders having their best racing season to date. But it is odds on McLeod that is almost there with his first number 1 plate. OR1 Big Bangers would open up the gate with the addition of the national riders in competition. A couple of them lining up for the GXCC format of starts for the very first time. Kenny Gilbert showed his form and experience to go out front on hole shot 1 and 2 with his closest rival on the national front, Ross Branch, on his wheel and banging bars straight out the gate. D'Artagnan was in third early on and he was going to try and run the pace. The man missing from the front bunch was JC Nienaber. He got stuck in the pack early on. OR2 gate was going to be all about everyone running the numbers. Taki Bodgiodges could do nothing more than go out and do the win and hope for the best for him and the worst for his competition. Bam Bam Rush got a great gate as well and he would be inside of the top 5 early on, but the pin was taken by Taki. JJ Daisel recovered from a bad start to still rail around the outside and run number 2 spot. JJ was setting himself up once again for another podium. In the OR3s, everyone was watching to see who would be the new winner on the tour. Remember, 5 different winners on the championship so far, this being round number 6. Jared Kutsia was lined up to try and nail down his first ever national title, but he only had to finish inside of a top 7, so he stayed well out of trouble and actually rolled off out of the gate. He left the whole shot to Ian Roll.
What we're going to do is for Loop A, the bikes will race first. They're going to do 4 laps. After the 4 laps, the regional club guys will be finished. The national guys will get decontrolled for 15 minutes. And then they'll go over to Loop B. They'll do another 2 loops.
Out front, after a bit of back and forth in the early couple of kilometers, Ross Branch controlled the pace and the race lead. It was Kenny that had the big task of trying to maintain number 2 spot and try to catch up to the dust and the back wheel of Branch. In the early laps, Sharon Moore was back racing in third.
I'd say with the sections that I've recognized, I think I'll make up time there, and obviously the fast flowing sections I'm quite good at. I think I'll make up time.
Tagging one of the worst starts of the 2018 season, JC was in the early stages out of the top 3 and coming under immense pressure from a returning back to good form, Lo Schmidt. Taki Bodgiodges had made the most of his hole shot in the OR2 category and was running and hiding with JJ Daisel. Not too far off the top 2 OR2 riders, absolutely pinning it out front. Whilst D'Artagnan Lovejoy struggled to find his pace. It was a good run early on though, 3rd place in the OR2s, falling to the hands of Hein Vinnie Kirk Jr. Ian Roll in the OR3s was the man to watch and the man to beat, with Stefan van Deventer matching his pace in the early running. Jared Kutsia was doing what he had to do for GXCC and national championships as he sat inside the top 5. Willem Scholveld had made the big trip up from the Cape to compete in his first GXCC. The Masters field at round number 6 was bolstered with over 20 riders making the big queue. Inside the top 5, Harry Grobler once again scored some valuable points for his championship chase. Up the road was Stephen King, and Ian Fenter swung a leg back over the big 450 Sherco to make a podium at this round. That meant the top 2 this time around, once again, Peter Hall, the standout championship points leader, would take a number 2 spot with a new winner on the tour. Welcome to the top step, Francois Swanepoel. Confirmation of a new winner then at round number 6, with Hull number 2 spot but still extending in his championship. Fenter made the podium, as well as King, Grobler and Pepper down in 6th. For the seniors, the king of GXCC racing, in this category at least, is Bruce Viljoen. With drop points, he maintains a slender 7-point advantage over Sean Lloyd, who has been something of a revelation this season. The big story though is to watch out for Wade Blau. He's on 75 at the moment, just 14 points behind, but the momentum is with Blau as he's taken the late season wins, and he is now hunting down Viljoen and Lloyd. At round number 6 on the seniors gate, well over 25 riders in the lineup queue, and Henley. So Henley was going to be the whole shot kid, as he so often is when he makes the gate. Viljoen though was going to be in it to win it and stayed inside the top 3.
I'm actually looking forward to this event. As you guys know, they're joining the national and the actual GXCC, and also Lawrence Mahoney always puts up a good show, and I've no doubt it's going to be a success.
Making the cut inside the top 6 at round number 6 was Isak van Wyk. A good ride would see him climb the ladder. Hannes Simon brought home another top 5. That was good points for him. Sean Lloyd would be ruining the day. A number 4 finish kept him off the box, and he lost a ton of points. It was Guy Henley that robbed a couple of valuable points and saw him step back onto the podium again in the 2016 season.
going to be a big dice out there. I mean, it's anybody who can take the win. I think Wade's looking for it. I know Bully desperately wants to bag another championship win, so I think we're all there to try and win this thing out.
A number 2 finish at this round meant that Bruce was still hanging on to his championship points lead. But as the second half of the season has been the story so far in seniors, once again, it was another win going to the in-form Wade Blau. Confirmation of Blau's win then, taking more and more points out of Bruce Viljoen with just 1 round remaining. Henley's third place robbed Lloydie of a ton of points on the day as well. The high school category has been a wild one in 2018. 5 rounds of the championship, 4 different winners. The only man going doubles so far has been Low Pretorius. Robbie has taken one of the wins. It's also been interesting to see that Mr. 125 Ryan Peltzer has really struggled to find his form with a ton of mechanicals on the 2018 tour so far. Stormy Viljoen has been the man to beat in the second half of the season. The points before the drop rounds could not be tighter. Low Pretorius hanging on for the lead, but check out second, third and fourth. Peltzer, Robbie and Viljoen dominating the top 4, with Josh Johnson starting to find form in 5th place. At round number 6, the story was out on the track and it was a wild one. In and out of the title chase in 2018, JP de Villiers made his welcome return to racing, but only tagged a 7th place finish. Notice Robbie, one of the championship hopefuls, would have hoped for a higher finish than this. He was only down the road in 6th. Mr. 125 Ryan Peltzer also could not figure out the hard-packed terrain and would only go on to bag and tag a number 5 finish. Peter Karam tagged his best ever GXCC, a number 4 spot will see him as a threat going forward into next year. Low Pretorius, the championship points leader, got onto the box. That was important. He got a 3rd place ride and then a number 2 spot, a new podium placing, going to Davin Cocker. Great to see some new blood starting to rise to the top. He will also put his hat into the ring going forward into 2019. So who took the win? Storm Viljoen. So Storm starting to climb the ladder and look good for the GXCC Championship. It's going to be between him and Low Pretorius as we go to the final round. Confirmation of the results coming out of round number 6 then. Viljoen, Cocker taking points away from Pretorius, Karam, Peltzer and Robbie, with JP de Villiers, Wenzel, Jonker and Johnson the top 10. Back out on track and out front, it was still Ross getting chased down by Kenny.
No, I'm looking forward to it. You know, we raced a few GXCCs ago in Ricemarville, which isn't far from here. So, and it's obviously Lawrence marking the track, so I'm confident that the track's going to be really good, marked well. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting out there. I'm nervous right now, but I just want to be on the start line and get out there and just give it everything.
JC had got rid of his nerves and ploughed himself through into 3rd place, making the pass on Charon Moore and Lo Schmidt along the way. Tucky still ran the pace in the OR2s with JJ Dasel happy to sit in the number 2 spot. 3rd place now though was the championship hopeful in the national category, Gareth Cole. A shake of the head showed that D'Artagnan Lobjoy was not in the zone. The man that was though, a new name to GXCC Racing and straight to run inside of the top 5, Travis 2. Ian Rawle was still doing what he had to do as he led the race in the OR3 category, but Brad Cox was now charging hard in the 2 spot.
Also this skier, my starts haven't been the greatest up until now. I've always had to fight my way from the back, but so I'm used to that, so I'll take it as it comes.
McLeod was having a polished and mature ride, sitting in 3rd place. 4th place, doing what he had to do to wrap up his national title, was Jazz Kutsia. The same situation was happening out front. Ross Branch was maintaining a solid 40-second lead out front of Kenny, with JC now showing the signs that he'd really had to plough the field to get up into 3rd place. Charon Moore was loving the hard pack and had polished his riding style perfectly for this event. Tucky Bodjorges remained out front with JJ running the 2 spot. He was now starting to close him down though. Lo Schmidt, who's been on the comeback after a lot of early season injuries, was sitting inside of a podium, but he still had to catch up to the back wheel of JC. Dart was coming under immense pressure from the charging OR2 pack. At the same time, the OR3s were starting to develop a bit of drama. Rawle was running great pace, but the man that was fastest on track was this man, Bradley Cox. He had closed down Rawle to the tune of less than 40 seconds as they headed into the closing stages of the event. The hard pack track had not suited everyone, but Ross Branch, after getting out clear on lap 1, had run and hid in the dust and rocks of Carletonville. Kenny could do nothing else but match the pace of his championship and arch rival, as he ran in the number 2 spot. But that was for Nationals on the GXCC Championship. He was in a battle with this man, JC Nienhaber. For the Nationals, Ross Branch celebrated early as he rolled on into the finish, and it was another checkered flag and a 3rd national title in a row for the Kalahari Ferrari on the KTM. 2nd place for Kenny, and it would be another number 2 plate going forward into 2019. Great racing and very entertaining, kept things nice and tight, and it came down to the wire. In the OR1 class at Carletonville for the GXCCs, it was Kenny Gilbert that scored the win in that category ahead of Nienhaber, Schmidt, Travis 2 and D'Artagnan Lovejoy. On the OR2 front, Taki did everything right. He got the last win, but it wasn't to be for the national championship. But he's still pushing JJ Daisel all the way down to the wire for the GXCCs. Daisel got a number 2 spot. Hein van Niekerk got his highest finish of the season with a 3rd. In the OR3 category, Ian Rawle didn't take the flag. He actually took a number 2 spot with Bradley Cox making the pass in the closing corners. But on the GXCC category, he did take the win ahead of McLeod, who remains and extends as championship points leader, with Coetzee in 3rd, Van Deventer in 4th, and Schonfeld in 5th. Q1 Quad Championship, it wasn't the best of starts for Gideon Jacobs with a 5th place out of the gate, but from then on it's been almost faultless as he dominated except for the 7th place in Le Havre. This has let Keenan Hammond in with a bit of a chance after drop points, and he's only 5 points adrift after the calculators have been whipped out. Choosing to rather focus on his studies in his final year of high school, Keenan has been in and out of the championship, but it would be a turnaround for the season if we saw the Yamaha kid walk away with the big number 1 he's been so desperately looking for. The Q2 category has been dominated by one man alone in 2018, Hunter Simon, giving him the opportunity at this round to jump off 4 wheels and onto 2 to see what he can do. In the championship then, before drop points, Gideon Jacobs is controlling the cheese ahead of JP Van Veek and Rowan Tout. And in the Q2s, Simon, Mikau and Swanepoel. Swanepoel, though, is a man to watch out for. The Q1 gate then, everyone will be watching to see if it was going to be the all-out war once again with KTM versus Yamaha. A few Hondas thrown into the mix as well. JP Van Veek has been on a bit of a ripper this season, as well as the Suzuki crews. This time around, it was going to be, once again, the orange machine that hit the front early on, with JP sitting on the wheel in the number 2 spot on the Suzuki. JP, definitely an in-form rider, looking to chase down his first title in 2019. Hammond, in the early stages, was a number 3 wheel. In the Q2s, it was all about a new face. Hunter Simon not in the lineup, and Swanepoel went for the pin, grabbed the whole shot, and he was desperately going to run the numbers out front and try and clear off. Swanee had clear air as they left the whole shot field, and that was a massive advantage at this round. At the halfway marker of the event, Keenan Hammond had a stranglehold on the race with some early race issues for Jacobs, still in number 2 spot.
Bike's still running good. Had a few stupid mechanicals beginning of the year. That seems to be sorted, so yeah, hopefully it holds up.
Xander Branken was charging once again inside the top 3, but Swanee was the man on fire, leading Q2s.
For the quad guys, they're going to do 4 loops on loop B. After that, they will be decontrolled, and then they go over to loop A for another two loops. The quad class is not a national class, but we've made a special class for them just to get a bit of extra riding in. So very excited to see how this day is going to plan out.
Henny Mikau Sr. was running inside the top 5 once again in the ultra-competitive Q2s, with Rian Dick starting to find his form, with a number 5 finish just ahead of 6th place, Peter Simon deployed. In the Masters category, the DeSanti, Team DeSantos, were back in the house. 5th place this time around, beating out Tony. It was Fernando taking a number 5 finish. Up the road was Roxy, charging hard on the big Yami. A whole shot, but unfortunately this time around it was a 3rd place finish to the KTM of Brian Herbst. Up the road was Steedy. A number 2 finish in the Masters keeps him in the championship hunt. But Steph Bester finally came back to life at round number 6. It's been a real up and down season for the Vans Racing man from Middelburg. Great to see him charging with just 2 rounds to go. He may well still challenge for the title. At this round then, confirmation of Steph Bester beating out Steve Wilkinson and Brian Herbst with De Santos 4, 5 and 6.
It's going to be really dusty through the start, and I think a start's going to be really crucial. And I think pacing yourself today is also going to be quite vital. It's a long race, 300 Ks roughly. It's going to be a hot and long day.
In the closing stages, with Keenan Hammond running the pace out front, the story turned to the number 2 on the road, which was first place in the Q2s. Swanee was charging and was setting the track alight. He would go on to record the fastest time overall. Branken once again was the man to watch as he climbed the ladder and tagged another number 2 finish in the Q1 category, holding off a resurgent Gideon Jacobs, and Rusman Ferreira was sitting just outside the podium placings in 4th place, holding off as well Ruan Tote. Tote has been a kid to watch out for, and when everything falls his way, he will be a championship runner. JP also making the big trips all the way up from KZN at every single round. This time around he had a rough ride, 6th place finish in the Q1s. For the Q2 category, Henny Macau Sr. making the move up last year from the Masters, this time into the Q1s, wanted a bigger challenge. He got that as well. 4th place would eventually be his finishing result. Simon Peter Deploy just off in 6th place. Confirmation of the categories then. In the Q1s, Hammond beating out on Branken and Jacobs, Ferreira, Tote, Van Veek, Duplessis, Fenter, Fell and De Santos. A strong top 10 ride coming out of all. In the Q2s, it was the Stefan Swanepoel show. He's got skinny, he's got fast, and he comes into the end of the season on an absolute ripper. He takes the win at round number 6 ahead of David Stratum, Paul De Santos, Henny Macau, Rian Dick, Deploy, Quirson, Jobby, Boyce and De Santos rounding out the top 10. Kings of Dirt and the GXCC races are proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers, along with GXCC and their co-sponsors.